Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 8th of May. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director at Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is the weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we have Resolute Mining, Vertex Minerals, GQG Partners, Boss Energy and BHP. If you have a request, please send it through. Make sure you've signed up to the free newsletter, but our best recommendations come out on Tuesday in the Dynamic Investor Report, so make sure you're getting that report. But if you do enjoy these videos, we'd love you to share them on social media or even leave us a review. Our main business is in portfolio management, so if you'd like to have a broking account with me, then please let me know. And the advice here is general only. So I've got a daily chart here of RSG. As we can see, it was trending nicely until that big fall. Does look like it's formed a bit of a base. So if we zoom in, essentially just sort of sideways base. It now does look like it's, that's the base. Looks like it's pretty much broken out, breaking higher. So look, it hasn't gone too far from this base. So I think it's still a buy on any sort of dips above this blue line. And I think as a target, you'd be looking for this gap up here, which is initial target sort of near 65 cents. Okay, VTX. So if we look back over the past year, in some respects we could say, longer term it's got it's trending higher. You've got sort of the movement up here, consolidation, another move higher, another consolidation that's holding above this low. I mean, on a shorter term time frame, if you're holding it here, you'd say, okay, we're here, a little higher highs and higher lows. It broke this low, and now it's entering a shorter term downtrend. Does look like it wants to break that soon. It's obviously bounced pretty well and is testing this this previous swing high, which is near 65 cents. So look, bit of resistance there at 65 cents. Sorry, not 65 cents. It is 26.5 cents. So if it can get above 26.5 cents, that would be a little buy trigger. Otherwise, you'd be looking at, either way, it's got to stay above this low here. GQG, so if we just have a look at the weekly chart, we could see that, after that big run up, it's, been in a bit of a downtrend. We've got some sort of severe pullbacks along the way. Shorter term, it's bounced nicely, consolidating, might try to head a bit higher in the short term, but it ultimately needs to crack this February high. It needs to make a higher high. So interesting to see what happens here if we do get a short-term bounce, if it falls short and it continues to roll over. But given what's been underway for the past several months, you'd have to say that the risk is still to the downside. Boss Energy, well, we did look at this one back in March. So I'll go to the weekly chart. So we pointed out that there was a lot of bullish divergence. So if we have a look at the RSI, that bottomed out sort of around September last year and has trended higher while the shares continued to make new lows. So, we indicated in March that could, you could see a reversal, and obviously it's, it's now rallying. A positive sign is that it has taken out this October high. So, that's another positive step for it. It might, ease back, but if we have a look at the daily chart, we could see that the move is pretty powerful. So only short-term dips, at the moment we're only talking sort of 1-2 day dips. So it's and switching back to the weekly, look, it's a buy the dip stock. It's formed a major low and I expect high levels. Okay, finally BHP. So interesting price action recently. So like a lot of stocks, it had that sort of sell-off in early April, then a strong bounce. There was an old support level sort of around the mid 38s. It's now congesting under that. So that's a good sign. It's good that it didn't rally up to that line and then get sold off sharply. It's congesting, so it looks like it's getting ready for an upside break. So if we just have a look at sort of this little trading range here, I think if it was to sort of gap down, you know, let's say it gaps at $37 or under and then starts to fall, that would be a pretty bad sign. But at the moment, just look out for a break above this line. I think if it can get above this line and move out of this little cluster here, then that would be the next buy signal. Okay, well that's all for this week. If you have a request, send it through and I'll try to cover it next Thursday for you.